In today's ugly news, Amazon really want to be Temu. Influencers and dermatologists have made everyone fucking terrified of the sun. But let's start with the news that Shein, Temu, Skims, and Fashion Nova have all scored 0 on human rights and environmental policies. But are we surprised? Not really, because they're all fast fashion brands essentially, right? I'm reading from my notes a lot today because there's a lot to get through. But an independent watchdog called Remake recently rated major clothing brands on their environmental, human rights, and equity practices, and as you can expect, the results were pretty shit. They were dismal. Abysmal. Terrible. As I mentioned, Skims, Temu, Fashion Nova scoring 0. An absolute 0. At a textile factory in Zhejiang province, China, you can see piles of discarded clothing and bedding actually all basically waiting to be recycled. They're all 100% cotton only. And this is part of the Wenshu Taincheng Textile Company's effort to combat textile waste, which is a global issue with only 12% of textiles recycled worldwide. China, who is the largest producer of consumer textiles, discards over 26 million tons of clothes annually, which mainly end up being in landfills. I stress that all these items waiting for landfill were 100% cotton because this recycling problem is made even worse by these fast fashion companies whose cheap clothing items are all synthetic, they're not recyclable, and you can buy all these for like $1 an item. It's ridiculous. Brands like Shein and Temu make China a leading producer of affordable fashion, sold in over 150 countries. Only about 20% of China's textiles are recycled, mostly cotton, often linked to forced labor. The US have actually blocked these imports coming from China, the cotton traders, to avoid goods being made with forced labor. But there's a lack of transparency in the whole supply chain, so it really complicates the issue. But it's really the accountability that lacks from these brands. Shein scored 6 out of 150 points, and Temu, Skims, and Fashion Nova scored 0 in this human rights and environmental policies survey. So this isn't a China problem. This is these brands lacking accountability and just wanting to make quick money producing all this shit. According to Euronews, younger Chinese people are becoming way more aware of the sustainability issue, and there's a real trend in like designers and young teenagers in younger generations trying to make secondhand clothing cool again to try and help combat this issue. People are kind of like dedicating themselves and not to buying anything that's brand new. Thrift shopping, secondhand, you know, all that kind of stuff. But despite all this, sustainable fashion obviously faces its own issues. Otherwise, brands like Temu and Shein wouldn't exist. Higher production costs, customers reluctant to spend more money on it, reluctant to pay more for basically secondhand or even just recycled clothes. Professor Sheng Liu from the University of Delaware notes that without clear government support, sustainable fashion won't thrive in China. Yet, if the government sees economic potential, it could lead to significant changes. But for now, fast fashion remains prevalent in China, and I know Shein are trying to get a shop here in Oxford Street in London, so it could be very prevalent in the UK soon too. On that note, Amazon really want to be Temu. Amazon are gearing up to launch their own new discount shopping app to rival Temu, according to reports. They shared this news at a private meeting with Chinese sellers on Wednesday, the 26th of June, where a presentation revealed the app would feature affordable items from China like phone cases, affordable clothing, electronics. Sounds familiar, right? However, unlike the usual Prime deliveries from Amazon, and unlike the, like 1 to 2 month waiting time for your deliveries on Temu, your items will probably take about 9 to 11 days to arrive, even though you will be connected with Chinese suppliers. A spokesperson for Amazon said, "We're always looking for new ways to work with our selling partners to give our customers more options, lower prices, and greater convenience." Temu was the most downloaded app in the US with 103 million downloads last year. That's more than TikTok, more than Candy Crush, I don't know. But a lot of people are thinking this is kind of an odd move because Amazon doesn't really have any rivals. Despite Temu being absolutely fucking massive and, you know, supplying a little bit of competition, Amazon's market value hit 2 trillion for the first time this year, making it the world's 5th most valuable company, joining the likes of Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, and Google's parent company. Temu still remains the top free shopping app on all app stores, with a higher rating actually than Amazon itself. This is owned by Chinese firm PDD Holdings. Temu moved its headquarters to Ireland in 2023 as part of its global expansion. The thing is with Temu, right, their slogan is "shop like a billionaire," right? Kind of representing the fact that you can buy so much shit for so little is basically what they're saying. You can just keep buying and buying without any worries like a billionaire. But the apps have these like lightning deals. You go on it and it's like you've got £50 worth of free shit. There's like, it's like gambling addictive side to this app that was actually studied and it was really, really interesting in a documentary, a Channel 4 documentary, but it's addictive. That's what I'm saying. And if anyone can replicate that, it's going to be Amazon. I hope this sticks to its own app because I don't want to be going on Amazon and see like USB lights or like phone cases with loads of shit stuck on the back of it for like 99p. You know, I don't want that shit so readily available to me. With so many brands launching their own kind of open marketplace, H&M, B&Q, Walmart, Superdrug, it's hard to trust what is, I guess, an authentic products with good quality. And that's not to say everything from China is bad quality, is not at all. A lot of the good shit we own, you will own, is from made in China. It's to say that these mass produced things aren't made well. They're just not made well. And that could be from anywhere. But I want to know what is kind of like this online marketplace versus what is being sold through a reputable seller, you know? I hope they're separate. Oh, okay, here it goes. Not surprisingly, pay for creators of color and black skin content creators is getting worse. In the UK, if you're a person of color or a black content creator, you are possibly getting paid almost 45% less than lighter skinned counterparts. That's according to a study by talent management agency 7/6, and it is more than skin color. We have hair type and age as well that matter too, apparently. I don't know why I'm saying apparently like it's a surprise or like I'm shocked by it. From March to May 2024, 7/6 surveyed 300 influencers of color in the UK. Their 2024 influencer pricing report reveals that black creators are earning 34% less than white content creators this year. Just 2 years ago, the gap was 22%. That's 12% less. Yeah, they're earning less. They're earning 12% less than they were a year ago. And it's not just a UK problem. Obviously, the US saw a similar trend in 2021 with a gap of 35% reported by the Influencer League and MSL Group. Charlotte Stavru, the founder of 7/6 Agency, told Business Insider, "We needed data to back up what we've always known. Lighter skinned or racially ambiguous creators get more gigs than those with dark skin." I'll admit this. I think I've been referred to as racially ambiguous before. When I first came onto this app as a content creator, people didn't know where I was from. People thought I was faking a British accent. People thought I was like shamed of my country, and people would tell me where that country is without really knowing my background whatsoever. It doesn't matter though. I am racially ambiguous. People sometimes don't even realize that I'm not white. Even though I'm brown, you know, I'm like a tanned white person essentially. And what I will say is, especially with diversity and inclusivity being an important thing to a lot of brands, but almost like a checklist item for a lot of other brands, I'm a safe tick on those tick boxes, you know? I'm gay, I'm ethnically diverse, but safe. Does that make sense? And I know that I'm very aware of my privilege to be able to kind of fall into these two categories. And even being a man in the beauty space, I don't necessarily think my pay is less than those of women in the beauty space. People who do makeup, you know, which has so much money in it. I don't think I lack from, I'm about to speak to my agent, but I don't think I'm being paid less than others. Also because of my age. I think I look my age. I'm 35. I feel like I look my age. It's because I'm a man, let's be honest. But it's not just black influencers getting paid less. The same study found that Southeast Asian influencers earn a whopping 57.22% less than white influencers. East Asians aren't far behind that with 38.4% less, and South Asians come in at 30.7% less. But there's also a skin tone and hair thing as well. So influencers with deep dark skin tones earn 44.63% less than those with lighter skin, even though it was within the same ethnic group. And that's what I was just referring to. I'm definitely lighter skinned. I have straight, non-curly, my hair's a little bit wavy, but it's blow dried every day. I have very straight hair that's, you know, pretty average, because curly hair, textured hair is another hurdle here. Curly haired influencers reported making between £800 to £1,023 per post. They don't say what post that is really. While those with straight hair ranked in at £1,713 to £2,191. Also, age is definitely a thing. Being over the age of 40 isn't doing anyone any favors, apparently. 60% of creators over 40 feel discriminated against because of their age, and it's more than just a feeling. Younger influencers aged 18 to 39 earned 144% more on TikTok than those over 40. However, Instagram have kind of like flipped that around, with older influencers earning between £1,546 and £1,978 if they were aged 40 to 59 for a single post, compared to £1,245 to £1,592 for the 18 to 25 crowd. I feel like we all know this. I feel like we all know this, but it's so important to see these figures because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, you're just saying that, you know, like, how do you know? Like, blah, blah, blah. These figures just show what we already know is going on and the huge pay gaps when it comes to everything by the looks of it. You would think with brands trying to be more diverse that they genuinely invest in these influencers, in different types of influencers. But what this proves to me that being inclusive to some brand means just making sure you have everyone of every skin tone, skin color, sex, gender, age in your campaign, but no one has to know what they're being paid or if they're being paid separately. I get that some people are more in demand than others, which then I understand, you know, you're going to reach a large audience. But with that being said, because the way the world works, those more in demand than others tend to be white and lighter skinned. Not tend to, they are. So yeah, it's annoying, it's frustrating, but I think it's really important to see those figures. A new study has shown that not only do consumers really want sunscreen and improvements on sunscreen, but also that they're all shit scared of the sun. Top behavioral research company Valynx have recently released a new study all about sunscreen, what consumers are looking for, how much they're willing to pay. They ask consumers about their preferences and how much they pay for basic versions of popular sunscreen brands versus new improved sunscreen products with added benefits. So the study shows that people are becoming more aware of the benefits of sun protection despite what it looks like on TikTok and want sunscreens that offer more than just UV defense. Products with anti-aging benefits saw a 49% increase in demand, which is kind of, sunscreen is a great anti-aging product as it is, but we're talking things, you know, like with retinol in, no, I don't know, some shit. Hydrating products were up by 33% and sunscreens with vitamin C saw a 23% rise in interest. There's so many figures in this, I'm so sorry. 16% of those asked wanted a clear formula, whilst -7% were interested in a reef safe formula. But saying that, 14% of people are willing to pay more if the sunscreen is labeled as reef safe. Honestly, I think this reflects how sunscreen is becoming more of a daily part of everybody's lives, daily part of everybody's skincare routine. They wear it daily as a moisturizer and they want more from it. They want those particular actives. They understand the benefits of vitamin C with sunscreen. The whole reef safe thing is also just playing on consumer guilt, and I feel like a lot of us have fallen for that. If we think we can change the world simply by using a different sunscreen, consumers are bound to do just that, right? It's why I use toilet roll made out of recycled bamboo. I feel like I'm doing that little thing, you know? What's kind of like even more worrying, which I kind of get, is that the study found that 38% of people never feel fully relaxed in the sun, and about 60% said they burn easily, whilst 41% are worried about skin damage. We'll come back to this in a minute because I want to talk about this. And whilst a lot of these people surveyed still aren't using sunscreen as a daily application, I don't think you have to wear sunscreen daily. It depends on the UV index really, especially here in the UK. 30% of people apply it daily during the summer, but only 20% of people wear it all year round, with most consumers preferring a SPF 40 or higher. Leading sunscreen brands are Neutrogena, followed by CeraVe, then Coppertone, then Olay, then Supergoops, and then Target's Up and Up brand. And sun cream is still the most popular, followed by sprays and then liquids. And then it says gels. What's a sunscreen gel? I don't know. Anyway, the one thing that stands out to me is what beautypackaging.com is referring to as sunxiety, which is that fear of the sun. It's that fear of not being able to relax in the sun. And I think the initial push online by influencers, skinfluencers, dermatologists, estheticians to start wearing sunscreen on a daily basis, or the importance of reapplying, was initially very good. It was very good to see people stressing the importance, what sunscreen can actually do for you other than just stopping you burning on a day at the beach, you know? But in the few years that this has been going on for, I feel like this has kind of made people terrified. Terrified to go outside basically and enjoy the sun out of fear of forgetting to reapply or not reapplying enough. Like, as much as I don't like being out in the sun, it's not because I'm scared of aging or the burning of it. I just don't feel comfortable in the sun. I always say heat is like somebody touching you constantly without your permission and you can't shrug them off. I like being in the shade. It's important to go outside and touch grass and put your feet in a pond, whatever people do when they're outside. I don't know what happens out there, but now people can't relax when they're educated about sunscreen. I love seeing derms like Dr. Maxfield, for example, who is like, wear sunscreen, but get the fuck outside, enjoy life. Not his exact wording, but on his Instagram stories, he's always up to something. He's always outside with a shit ton of sunscreen on, enjoying himself, enjoying the weather, enjoying being outside. That is honestly the exact opposite of what people feel like they're getting from other dermatologists and skincare influencers especially. I think it's an interesting topic that we now have this fear of the sun for many different different reasons. I think the stress now needs to be go outside, enjoy the sun, but here's how to reapply, you know? It's an interesting topic. Would you say you have sunxiety? I think I do a little bit. I think I'd be lying if I said I didn't. Scentbird's founder, do you know Scentbird? Scentbird is like the Netflix of fragrance. In fact, that's exactly what they told me to say in a brief when I worked with them like 4 or 5 years ago now, when I used to do for him content. And it kind of is, from what I remember, I don't remember the exact thing, but each month you pay a subscription and then you get to pick samples of fragrances to keep, right? It's a good idea because not all of us use all of our fragrances. You get to chop and change, experience new fragrances. Very, very good. However, the co-founder and CEO, Maria Nuraslamova, it's a nice name, has been exposed as a self-proclaimed spiritual teacher with around 300,000 followers on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, even Spotify. There, she kind of like dives into topics like extraterrestrials, which is interesting, the matrix, meditation, crystals, chakras, energies, healing energies. Honestly, fine. Listen, people are into that stuff and I don't not believe in it. I believe in energies. I believe in extraterrestrials. I believe in a possible matrix or hologram, but I believe there's science behind it. I don't know what I believe. I'm open to a lot, right? I won't join a cult though. I'm not that kind of believing. I believe things, but I have questions basically. Despite her YouTube channel, especially being around for a while now, her more recent videos have been gaining attention and going pretty viral, and people are only just really realizing who she is and her connections to Scentbird. And for the first time, many Scentbird customers and influencers who have worked with that brand are kind of trying to distance themselves now. And Maria has had some stupid, weird, offensive claims on these videos. For example, like being able to heal yourself from cancer and AIDS in 7 days, that miscarriage is a choice, and that abortion negatively affects one's karma. Alongside less offensive yet still as misguided statements like consuming honey makes you a better person and coffee is bad for your aura. She also had these views on the Matrix that have probably like gained the most attention. She often suggests that we're living in a video game like virtual reality type system. In May of 2022, in a video with her husband and Scentbird co-founder, she referred to Hitler as one of the greatest sources of knowledge of 3D planet Earth warfare, then questioning, so is he evil? Not really, I don't think so.
And by the way, like, look at Hitler. He's one of the poster children for like being an evil person. Do you know how many millions of souls benefited from learning from the experience that he has created? So here you may put, you know, like look at a character like him and be like, oh, he's completely evil. And upstairs, his experience was one of the greater sources of knowledge of 3D planet Earth warfare. And that is benefiting so many different souls on their evolutionary path. So is he evil? Not really. I don't think so.
When the Business of Beauty asked her about these issues and this particular quote, she said videos are really taken out of context. So they take a very small portion of what was actually said, and when you remove the context, the message really changes. She added, because I perceive everything as oneness, of course, murder is not okay. Absolutely it wasn't murder. It's fucking genocide. Absolutely freaking not. I would never endorse that. Never ever in a billion years. But why? Nothing is taken out of context if it's in video. Well, it can be, but that clip was taken out of not context. It's perfectly in context. What other context would that be? She's saying some stupid shit. I don't mind spiritual gurus. I don't mind people believing in a matrix, even a video game like World. There's so many theories out there, whatever. But it's when these people get so self-righteous, I believe they honestly start to think they are of a higher power, whatever they believe in. They believe they're up there with these greater goods, their teachers, their gurus, their blah, 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 blah. That they start to say this stupid shit. They start making up shit. It's like when these religious cult members start changing like the word of the Bible, which again, don't know a lot about, don't care about. They start to make up these teachings so that their followers think they are the God, they are the most important, highest power. This is what this sounds like to me. Like, where does she get this shit from? Don't buy Scentbird, fuck it off. I guess there's other ones you can get. Go on Etsy, buy samples of other fragrances. Hang on, there's something called Scentbox. Let me know if you've used that down below. If they've got any controversies, let me know. I've never bought Scentbird anyway. I honestly think it's a waste of money in the long run. But yeah, fuck her. Sorry. Anyway, let me know what you think of today's stories. Please comment down below, have a discussion down below. Thank you everyone for being so nice in the comments to each other. I see some genuine good discussions rather than pettiness. Obviously obviously you get the odd troll, but especially when it comes to topics like this, it can be very divisive and a lot of people can take things very personally and attack each other. But my comments always seem to be quite nice and friendly. Saying that, I do kind of check the comments within the hour, then leave, because that's when the trolls come and I have to protect my mental health and all that kind of stuff. But yes, all in all, it's a good place to be. So thank you so much. You can watch the rest of the When Beauty Turns Ugly playlist here. I do have some full episodes coming soon and some general light entertainment here, and I'll see you over there.